Nos han invadido, estamos encerrados en las casas, los supermercados están saqueados, no hay suministros, no hay absolutamente nada. No sé cuándo vamos a empezar a tener hambre, porque es que estamos vaciando nuestras neveras. Hay gente por todos lados. Es mentira que hay gente buena, que hay gente mala, que hay de todo. Están intentando entrar en casas. Mi hermana ha salido a la casa, ha tenido que salir por la ventana porque estaban metiéndose en casa de la vecina de enfrente, a gritos pelados.
So this woman who lives in Ceuta, Spain, is saying that there's absolutely nothing. Supermarkets are closed. They're trying to break into houses. There's no one protecting us. Now, if you've been living under a rock for the last few days, all right, there's been this incident that happened in a little enclave of Spain, where essentially a bunch of migrants broke into the country. Well, they essentially crossed the border unchecked. And there's a video of them essentially breaking in. Now, here's another video that's been making the rounds. This one is from today. African invaders in Ceuta, Spain are now raiding the streets and infuriating local citizens. Just absolute mobs of them trashing the place as they terrorize anybody they see fit. Spain needs mass remigration or they will lose territory. Well, of course, their woke government thinks that it's not compassionate to remigrate people who break into your country illegally. Let's watch this. So there they are, adding value to Spain. Oh, and if you can hear them, they're chanting, if you know what that means, okay? they're chanting as they invade another country. So these are the people who they claim are adding value to their country. The woman, of course, is going to be seen and called, she's going to be called a racist, okay? This is the video that essentially broke the internet last week. So that was videos of thousands and thousands of migrants, illegal aliens, who illegally crossed the border into Ceuta, Spain. And people say, I saw someone online who was claiming that, well, that territory was never ceded to Spain. Spain took it over illegally, and they're just a bunch of Moroccans who are trying to take back their land. If someone says to you, because your land happens to be built somewhere that I claim is mine, therefore your land is mine, then you go ahead and hand over your property to them. Look, I guarantee you that the person who said that online would call the police if someone randomly showed up at their doorstep to say, this land is this is stolen land, therefore your property is mine. So that is the insanity that's been going on in Spain. And it essentially escalated to them breaking into stores and buildings. Just like the lady said, they've been breaking into shops. Everything is closed. There's no security. And that's the thing that a lot of people miss. People miss the fact that whenever there's insecurity in any country, if any country is insecure, what you have is a breakdown of basic services. Like the grocery store. The grocery store stops opening because people are breaking in and stealing things. So that's the update in Spain. We're yet to see any movement that shows that the Spanish government is taking this as seriously as they should. I'm sure that there's lots of blame shifting. Today, someone said that they're literally attempting to blame Israel. Well, let's watch this. So here's the cultural enrichment going on in real time. They're breaking into supermarkets and stealing things. So the Spanish government essentially, now you guys let me know. I spent the weekend doing stuff with my family. I wasn't terminally online looking at the world burn, but let me know if the Spanish government has come to their senses and have decided that they're going to fix things. Now, so this is coming from 5 hours ago, okay? These are updates, okay? So whenever you listen to mainstream media, they try to make it seem like the people on the ground who are complaining, like the woman we watched earlier, these are racists, these are bigots, these are people who are lying. And then they blame Elon for giving us the platform to be able to see these things. And they're like, Elon should be prosecuted for allowing the world see how disastrous these decisions are. Meanwhile, the people who are reporting these things in real time are the real racists. They are the bigots because they show things that are not true. Well, tell me if this is AI generated. But let's read the caption first. This is translated from Spanish. So the effing politician bastards who dare to say that things are back to normal in Ceuta. Okay, to the effing politician bastards who dare to say that things are back to normal in Ceuta. Just 3 minutes from my house. Tell me how the hell I'm supposed to step out now without thinking something's going to happen to me while these criminals roam free because the ones left are straight up criminals. Well, don't call them criminals. Don't call them criminals. It's racist to call them criminals. Don't do that. Don't you know it'll hurt someone's feelings? So that's someone's view from their house. Does this look like AI? Doesn't look like AI to me. All right. So imagine this is happening outside your house. And you know these are undocumented people. If they commit crimes, their fingerprints aren't in any database. These criminals will not be caught if they steal anything, if they hurt anyone. There are no fingerprints to track these people down. These are the ones that the left wants us to be compassionate towards, simply because, they are a marginalized group. They came from, bad circumstances, and therefore they should be allowed to ignore the laws that protect countries, break in, run around screaming Allahu Akbar, and terrorizing the people who actually are legally meant to live there. So this is still happening today. So, of course, now let's see. Let's see. This is 17 hours ago. Let's see. Breaking news, the Moroccan government used its own population in a hybrid warfare campaign against Spain during the mass invasion of the Spanish enclaves of Ceuta and Melilla. Now that the operation has been wound down, Moroccan nationals attempting to return home are being attacked and pelted with stones by Moroccan border guards because they no longer want to remain in Spain and continue putting pressure on the Spanish government. This footage shows Moroccan border guards throwing stones at Moroccan nationals who are simply trying to return to their own country after being used by the Moroccan regime. Okay, this is weird. All right, we're going to see if is there a community note on this? There's none. So I assume that this is real. Okay, I assume that this is real. Let me zoom into this this video. He actually threw the stone. So guys, this is what happens in third world countries. All right, this is what happens in third world countries, okay? The law enforcement treats citizens like trash. They treat citizens like trash. Imagine a Moroccan national trying to get back into the country that he broke out from, into Spain, and then the Moroccan border guards are pelting rocks at them. There's a close-up of this. Well, I think this might be AI generated. I don't know how accurate this is because this wasn't that close. All right. So that's the situation that you have now. The people who are trying to get back into Morocco are essentially being driven back by the Moroccan government. All right, another video. Look, a lot has been going on. A lot has happened with Spain. And I don't know, like I said, I've been busy with family and stuff. Okay, so here we have the mayor of Ceuta says that the Sanchez government is lying about how many illegal migrants have returned from Ceuta. He says that 10,000 to 15,000 illegals are still sleeping on the streets of Ceuta, with many of them setting up makeshift camps on the beaches. Let's watch this. So the government lied. I'm shocked. So you have people who don't have any fingerprints in the database. No one knows who they are, camping at random locations in Spain. And the governments are lying about them having returned and things having returned to normal. All right, so these are all pictures of people sleeping in random spots around Ceuta. Look, I'm not shocked that the Spanish government is lying. Okay, remember, this is the Spanish government that attacked Elon for allowing Spanish citizens who were complaining about the horrific situation of the immigration system that they were going through. He says, hey, we need to prosecute Elon. All right, so let's watch this. I'm sure this will be very interesting, okay? Dramatic escalation in Ceuta. Amid Allahu Akbar chants, the remaining migrants stormed the city. Earlier, the military had attempted to transport them away from the beach. The police are now trying to push the migrants back. Our reporter, Helena Sofia, reports live from the scene. The footage shows what's happening in Ceuta is nothing less than an Islamist invasion. So let's watch this.
Die Szenen sind total chaotisch. Es gibt eine verletzte Person, scheinbar verletzt, die zitternd auf dem Boden gelegen hat. Die ganze Masse hinter mir jagt sie jetzt in Decken in Richtung der Stadt. Das Militär schaut einfach überfordert zu und kann überhaupt nichts machen, weil es zu viele sind. Unter Allahu Akbar.
This lady is terrified. You can hear it in her voice. She is terrified. And she's wearing a cross, meaning that she subscribes to the Christian worldview. And she knows, they must be paying her a lot. She knows what tends to happen when it gets dark. And these people are the only ones around, or at least they outnumber law enforcement and there are white women around. She knows what happens as she's walking fast.
Laufen wir jetzt hier also wieder in Richtung
I can hear it in her voice. She's terrified. So there's another video. It used to be that whenever people broke into your country, you sent the army to deal with the invaders, not with rubber bullets. It used to be. But over the last few years, with the intensification of this entire globalist insanity, where nationalities, especially when it's a white nationality, they attempt to erase people who are termed white and replace them with people who come from third world shitholes. I can say that because I come from one of those countries. I can say that, so you can't call me racist. So you want to replace the people who essentially built up those civilizations, those countries, Germany, Italy, Spain, England, Scotland, Ireland, the United States, and so on. You want to replace the native white population who, forget what Ilhan Omar, Jasmine Crockett, and those crazy people on Capitol Hill who claimed that America was built by colored people. It was the white population, the white Protestant population who moved to the United States, tamed the landscape, and created a government that made it possible for minorities to be able to gain office eventually. They did that. But they built the country, and now they're telling us otherwise. So you can't see this absolute insanity and not realize that there's an intentional attempt to erase Judeo-Christian white cultured people from their land and replace them with docile barbarians who don't know what a democracy should look like. All right? If their countries worked, if our countries worked, our countries should be as prosperous as the West. Okay? And then you have the woke colleges claiming that the reason why the third world is because of colonialism. I'm sorry. Colonialism brought railroads. It brought electric power. It brought industry to countries that were still essentially, for a lot of those countries, they were still in the dark ages when the colonials arrived in the 1700s and 1800s. They were still in the dark ages. Some of them hadn't even invented the wheel. So trying to get these people in the intelligentsia to brainwash a bunch of students to believe that colonialism is so horrible and bad, it's unfortunate, and it really makes one wonder, college, because the colleges are filled with people who think this way and talk this way, and essentially try to burn down Western civilization to establish what on the ashes? What? Yeah, cultural enrichment, on full display. Now, we're going to just take a quick pivot where, that's the update from Ceuta, Spain. Nothing has changed, irrespective of what they would want you to believe. And we're going to pivot over to I don't know what we're going to do. Okay, let's take an update from Seattle. Now, if you watched the reaction that I gave after the attack in Seattle, and that must have been last Sunday, we looked at the reaction of the mayor. Okay, Seattle's socialist mayor looked like she was about to cry during a brutal press conference after media grilled her about her response to a mass shooting and overall lack of leadership skills. If you remember what I said during that release, I said she looked like a kindergarten teacher talking to 3-year-olds.
I understand that many of my colleagues on the city council disagree with.
All right, I have to stop. All right. Chrissy. Chrissy, I have missed you too. I know that we're friends on Discord, but I have a policy not to, sorry, wrong button, but you deserve two applause. I have a policy not to message people who haven't reached out on Discord. Okay, so glad to see you in the chat. So, Chrissy, have you seen what's going on in Spain, and what do you think? Okay, what do you think? Now we've talked about Spain, but let's talk about Seattle. Okay, let's talk about Seattle. And Klein says, "Have a nice class." Well, Anne, thank you for testing to see if this is live. Anne must be checking. Is this live? Yes, it is. It is. Now, what I usually do is I tend to interrupt the programming to talk to my live chat. Okay, so we've talked about Spain. Spain was invaded essentially last week by a bunch of Islamic migrants from Morocco. All right, and then the government claims that most of the migrants have returned back to their country. I played a video showing Moroccan border guards throwing rocks at Moroccans trying to cross back into Morocco, which was horrible. We've seen the streets of Ceuta where there are still over 10,000, 15,000 migrants in the streets in makeshift camps, and the government of Spain is claiming that everything has returned to normal. So that's a quick update. That would have been the United States. Okay, that was where the Kamala Harris administration would have taken the United States. How do I know? Okay, look at what they did for 4 years. Over 10 million people crossed the border unchecked and unvetted. So that was the first report that we covered. Now we're looking at the insanity of Seattle. When she did her press conference last week, I did mention that, hey, look, she's talking as if she's speaking to a bunch of 5-year-olds, because she's talking like a kindergarten teacher, not like a mayor. And here she is at a press conference, and here's how she reacts. Okay, Chrissy says, talking about Seattle, absolutely, so crazy, and Seattle is bad. That is what happens to blue cities. Blue cities always go to hell. Chrissy says, I doubt that government did enough. They are trying to keep it quiet. Did you know that the Prime Minister of Spain accused Elon of committing a crime for allowing Spanish citizens to post the reports of the immigration insanity in Spain? He literally said that his government was going to try to prosecute Elon criminally for allowing free speech on X. So that's the kind of government you're talking about in Spain. All right, so let's watch the mayor of Seattle give us return confidence, give us a confident response about why things went the way they did in her response to the shooting. Let's have a listen.
The decision to move forward with a leadership. I understand that many of my colleagues on the city council disagree with the decision to move forward with a leadership change at SPD at this time. I am making what I firmly believe is the right decision at the right time.
The optics are that you are making Chief Barnes the fall guy for missteps that happened after the Seattle Center shooting, including the 5-hour lack of information, except for a statement from your office which contained errors. What do you want members of the public who say you've made him the fall guy?
Yeah, I'll just say again, I firmly believe that I'm making the right decision at the right time, and part of this is a feeling of urgency around upcoming events this summer, including this weekend, wanting to make sure that we have the right leadership in place at SPD, the right communications protocols, so
She's
that as we
completely
move
dodging
forward,
the question.
we can be much clearer with the public.
Are you serious? She paid him $700,000 to leave and be quiet. Oh my goodness. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Democrats, what are you doing? Why are you still voting for these losers?
If something like that should happen again.
Mayor, this is obviously the biggest decision you've made
my
during your
goodness.
term. The council is not here. The council is not standing behind you. The council, as you know, has criticized, and I want to get down to their exact words. Joy Hollingsworth, the council president, called this move irresponsible and it's a tad bit reckless. Deborah Juarez says the emergent issue is this: you do not fire your chief of police in the middle of a murder investigation. What we're seeing under this administration, her words, are more than just gaffes or missteps. I see a complete lack of leadership, and for some of us, no confidence in this administration. Wow. This has reached a level where we have to have a serious conversation about the confidence we have in this executive. So this is your chance to respond to the council. Why should the city of Seattle and this council have confidence in your leadership going forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'll repeat what I said to one of your colleagues here, which is that I respect their differences of opinion. And as the mayor, as the executive of the city, I do have a different window into our police department than they do. And I'm making the decision that I believe is best and urgent at this time for our police department and for this city.
There have been a lot of questions in the room.
Okay, so her answer isn't satisfactory. They're asking a very valid question. A leadership change in the middle of a murder investigation doesn't look good. It's going to throw a delay into the process of the investigation. Leadership needs to be replaced. You're going to need to hire someone new. That person has to be caught up on everything. This is going to set things back possibly weeks to months. And she's not giving off that aura that she knows what she's doing. All they're doing is trying to work on the optics. And in reacting to optics, they're basically making a huge misstep here.
About your relative lack of experience. It's something that was brought up on the campaign trail. Black community leaders brought it up yesterday. As Chris alluded to, council members have brought it up as well. You're 7 months into the job. What can you say to community members who are concerned that you have not, at this point, shown the leadership capability to run this city for 3 more years?
I'll just say I'm working with a great team, and I believe that we are making the right decisions for this.
Is she about to blame her team? Is she about to say, if I fail, it's my team's fault? Now, there's something interesting. I just want to read this post by Gad Saad before we just watch a little more. Okay, Gad Saad is a very, very important piece of this because he says, this idiot's father was a close colleague of mine. He proclaimed that I had lost my humanity when I criticized Pelosi and Obama. Not liking some Democrats meant that I was not a full-fledged human being. That's her father speaking, okay?
So why did it take more than nearly 24 hours for the community and even council members to know what was happening with Chief Barnes? And can you be transparent about maybe the one single decision that Barnes made that it caused you to lose confidence in his leadership, or was this just solely about what happened at the Fight of Seattle and that miscommunication?
Yeah, absolutely. So conversations between me and my office and Chief Barnes over the last couple of days, these are confidential personnel conversations.
She's going to say that.
And we had to have those conversations and come to the agreement around our path forward, around the resignation. We also had to have conversations with potential interim chiefs.
Go woke and go broke, guys. When you look for someone who is politically correct and who panders to woke policies, this is what you get. All right. This is where America is headed if you continue to let people like this get voted in, who get voted in on kindness, on equity, on Heidi gardening. Good to see you in the chat. Good to see you. These are the kinds of people that destroy cities, destroy states and countries. All right. And just look at, I've been responding to comments on the main channel. Okay. One of the videos on Trump is making a resurgence. And I'm having the same kinds of conversations on both sides. On one side, the people who support Trump say, of that video, Trump hasn't changed. Like, he's honest, he's forthright. Like, this is the same guy, 20, 30 years ago, and he's the same guy. And then you have the people on the right simply saying, he's a clown, he's a clown, he's a clown, not responding to anything of substance. And that's the problem with the woke left. They never respond to anything of substance, just like she's doing here in this interview. They're asking very pointed questions about the reaction time, the response, the fact that the chief of police was fired. And of course, like Chrissy just let us know, she paid him $700,000 to leave and be quiet about it. All of these are real questions that need to be answered. And then the mayor is simply sidestepping all these things and letting us know that she has a great team.
These are sensitive, confidential matters, and so it was simply not appropriate or possible for us to share the outcome or details of those conversations until those agreements and decisions had been made.
Are you telling the truth when it comes to that night about your office telling them to hold off?
Yeah, so to be transparent about what happened, the piece of this that my office was directly involved in and that I want to own is in the time period from 9:45 p.m. to 10:45 p.m. when the press conference ultimately took place. I learned at 9:40 p.m., 5 minutes before 9:45, that a press conference was being planned at Seattle Center. At that time, if I had known that next to no information apart from my own office's blog post, had been shared with the public since the time of the incident at 6 p.m., I would have immediately said, yes, tell the press everything you know.
For 5 hours. How did you not know? Did you
5
not turn on the
hours.
TV? Did you not look at an app on your phone and no one in your
I was not watching
administration
TV that evening.
Did no one in your administration?
Is she joking? There's this invention that took place during I think even before the Industrial Revolution. It's called having employees, having staff, and in more recent times, having a media team. Oh my goodness! Look, I don't want to like pile on, but you can't help it. But it's this. Okay, this is what happened. Her office delayed the press conference for 5 hours because they were waiting on celebrity Democrats, dignitaries, as the chief of police let the people of the press know. He said dignitaries were being expected. So the press conference was held off so that these dignitaries could show up and have a photo op. I called it out when that was happening. I said, that is exactly what was going on. Now, in order for her to save face, and to protect these dignitaries, we saw one of the, Pramelia, what's her name, of the Democrat Party showing up and looking all sad. She's one of the dignitaries that delayed the press conference. Now, the mayor is looking at a future role in Congress or Senate. She needs to protect these people. So she's essentially the fall guy for the dignitaries who wanted to show up to do a photo op so that they could go to Congress and rant about gun control because of this tragedy that happened in Seattle. That's the whole point of the whole issue. We see through the insanity, but you know what? She has to protect those guys because they, of course, are going to pave the way for her to become one of your congressmen or senators, guys. So this is who you get to look forward to become a senator in the next few years. So if you want her to be senator, keep refusing to turn out to vote. Keep letting the leftists vote these people in, and you get to have more people like Jasmine Crockett and her in the future.
Administration knew that no information was going out to the public about a mass shooting that happened at the Seattle Center. No one knew.
The reason why we put out a statement on our website around 8:45 p.m. is because at that point we did realize that nothing was getting out there, and we knew that the public was desperate for information. So we put out a statement. Communications were flying around, and I personally, at 9:40, was not aware that basic information such as the status of Seattle Center campus and information about potential suspects at large had not gotten out in any form. And that information should have been shared earlier. It could have been shared in a number of forms.
2 hours before that, you held a press conference with the police chief and didn't disclose that information.
Yeah.
It is not possible in any world that the King County Prosecutor's Office did not have that information very, very early on Monday. How is it possible that you didn't have that information? And specifically, if it wasn't your office,
I agree.
How did SBD communicate that to KCPAO, but not to you?
I will just say that I was not aware of that information at that time.
Statement.
This is amateur hour, guys. This is amateur. Her answers. If she isn't impeached or forced, I don't know how it works. I don't know how it works. But already the city council is talking about a lack of a vote of no confidence or something of that nature. It is insane. It is insane.
That came out yesterday afternoon from the Police Officers Guild. It just said that with your administration, there's been confusion, mixed messages, and chaos surrounding Barnes, and that public safety does not seem to be your priority. I want you to just address that. What would you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say again that there were really good reasons why we weren't able to offer information about Chief Barnes and our path forward until we had actually finalized those agreements and decisions. And as soon as we did that, we sent out a release yesterday and planned this press conference.
What were those good reasons? Pray tell.
Are you placing that?
By any measure, the chief's tenure here was successful. Do you agree with that? And if not, what was the straw that broke the camel's back?
I will just repeat that as the mayor, I have a different window into the police department than many of our council members, and I made the decision that I firmly believe was the right one at this time as we are moving forward with the summer to put us in the best position to keep our community safe and to communicate transparently with the public.
No, you're not.
More than that, though, Mayor. Respectfully, you can say I have this window into the police department that nobody else has, but that's not good enough for the public.
Yeah.
What wasn't Sean Barnes getting done? Crime is down, recruitment is up, major progress has been made in the last year and a half under his tenure. What wasn't he getting done?
I'm grateful for Chief Barnes' service, and I outlined in my remarks some of the qualities that I will be looking for in the next chief. I would just say that I believe that the path we are on now is the one that is going to put us in the best position to achieve our public safety outcomes, and that includes transparent communication with the public.
Sorry, nothing. I'm sorry. How is a transparent communication with the public supposed to add to public safety when you have an issue of gun violence, violent crime rising in your state or in your city, and your problem is transparent public communication, whatever it is she said? Hang on, let's just skip back. I don't know. I like to give these people a fair shake. I like to. Yes, I'm biased. I am very biased towards the conservative side, but it is crazy watching this travesty of a press conference and not having to just say, look, this is insane. This doesn't work.
I would just say that I believe that the path we are on now is the one that is going to put us in the best position to achieve our public safety outcomes. And that includes transparent communication with the public. That includes operational relationships throughout the department that are going to allow us to actually achieve our goals.
Bureaucracy. So communication and bureaucracy, that's what's supposed to create the best public service protection. Gosh, anyway, I'm losing. Okay, let's keep listening.
There's a cloak of secrecy here. We've asked multiple times. Number of media outlets have asked the same question. You're refusing to give us transparent answers on the reasons why. Do you think that that's going to create more of a problem moving forward, whoever takes over SPD, that it's going to create this culture of secrecy on no transparency?
I think there is a lot of information out there that can suggest to people the reasons why this decision was made. What I'm saying is that there were multiple factors. The events of Sunday certainly played into it, and I think we've discussed some of the gaps and lapses that happened. And again, my decision here is based on what I believe is going to be best for this department and for the city moving forward.
That's crazy. Okay, so Chrissy says, I was trying to find I was trying to find that video I saw about the Chiefs payoff, but he had missed 40-something days since the beginning of the year. He actually has his family in Chicago. All right. Is this something that we can find online? Meaning that that his home base, which he shouldn't, meaning that is his home base. Okay, which means he shouldn't be chief in Seattle, which is true. And so someone called him out on that last week. Someone called him out on that last week. And I think the same chief was a guy who almost got physical with a reporter. He almost got physical with it. I've heard that. Okay, so let me see if I can do a quick search. I want to see if I can do a quick search and see if I can find it. But anyway, like hearing things like this gets me emotional. It gets me emotional. Okay, let me just try something. It gets me emotional because lives are lost. Lives were lost. Yes, okay, yeah. So let's see. I'm sorry. I just saw something. Let's share this tab. All right. Is this the same thing? I hope I'm not. Okay, yeah. Como's CEO, I don't know what, Jeremy Harris releases $700,000 severance package of outgoing SPD chief Sean Barnes, signed by Mayor Katie Wilson. This is.
The city of Seattle waives any.
Hold on, let me see.
The $700,000 severance package for outgoing Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes has been released by Como's Jeremy Harris. The $590,477 direct cash portion of the package includes a lump sum payment equal to 18 months of salary for $560,165, 12 months of Cobra health coverage for him and his family valued at $30,312, and any unused accrued vacation will be cashed out under city policy. The City of Seattle waives any repayment requirements related to the $50,000 sign-on incentive and $60,000 in relocation reimbursement. Under conditions of the agreement, Barnes releases the city from all known and unknown claims arising from his employment or resignation, including discrimination and civil rights claim under federal, state, and local laws. He also agrees not to sue the city or its officers over any matters related to his resignation and to withdraw any existing agency complaints. He also agrees to pay the city's costs and attorney fees if he breaks the agreement. The severance agreement took effect July 30th, 2026, which was also the agreed upon final date of Barnes's employment. This is Mario Lotmar with your Linwood Times.
This is crazy. And I found the video where he was physical with a reporter.
I have been here working as hard as I can for this city from the day I got here. You got that?
But there are reports that you are not in town often.
That reports are wrong. Do you understand? Let's go, man. Let's go. You understand?
So when we're
Let's go. Thank you.
All right. He clearly needed media training. All right. Let's see. Okay. So let's jump into the chat. Okay. So, guys. So we've looked at these two stories. Let's just hang out for a bit and talk about this insanity. There's so much happening around the world. Let's see. Excuse me. I'm sorry for clearing my throat into the mic. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, he was physical with the reporter. Chrissy says a lot of California officers actually are from other states. It is crazy. The reason why most of these states employ people from out of state is so that whenever they need to clamp down on the citizens of those states, you have officers who have no ties to the citizens of those states. It used to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, it used to be that the local sheriff, the officers, was on a first name basis with everyone in town. You knew who they were. You knew who their dad was. You knew who their dad's dad was. There's a connection with the citizens, with the city. But with states like California hiring from out of state, it breaks that connecting tissue where you're saying to yourself, I know who that criminal is. I know who their parents are. I know how to handle them. And it kind of helps with cutting out the crime in small towns. Remember that song that the leftists were losing their minds over, Try This in a Small Town. The power of a small town is accountability. That's all it is. The power of a small town is accountability. Chrissy says, awesome. I knew I was not crazy. Yeah, you weren't. The video is out there. The document is out there. And the mayor of Seattle is lying through her teeth. All right, she's lying through her teeth. I don't think there's any coming back from this. I don't think there's any coming back from this at all. I have a special gift to you as we wrap up, okay? There's a special gift. Now, Hickox and I looked at this last week, and I wanted to share this with you, okay? Not this exactly, but we covered a story about the fact that I think it was Maine, the state of Maine, had a situation where their prison system was filled with errors where Black people were being documented as white. And the thing that upsets me is these kinds of lies that you have the talking heads on CNN, on TDSBC, and so on. They quote these erroneous numbers because they want to make it look like white people are dangerous. They want to make it look like anyone that says that there's a disproportionate amount of violent crime that comes, especially in Black communities, that happens, from the Black community. They want to make it sound like you're crazy or you're bigoted or you're racist. And here you have actual prison records. Cortez Nathaniel. First off, that name doesn't sound white. Here you can see clearly he's brown-skinned, but on his identity card, on the data in the Department of Corrections, race white. It's these kinds of records that have been uncovered, and we're seeing the same thing in other databases. Rodriguez Cesar, white. Archuleta Jaciel, white. Lamas Areola, white. So there's an account on X. If you want to hang out on X to find more, there's this account that I found. Says it's called White Criminal of the Day. I'm sorry, I just wanted to give it to you guys to have a look at this because it's insane stuff like this that we keep seeing that makes us realize that while we're not playing the same games. The left and those of us who are conservative, we're not playing the same game. We're playing a game that's based on facts and fairness and truth. But you have the other side; they're playing a different game. It's strongly rooted in lies, in subterfuge, and in a whole lot of illegality, so that they can say, "Hey, look, we're right." They have to go in and lie. They have to go in and doctor things. So that's, I mean, guys. So what do you think about this? You can follow the account and check it out. More people need to hear about this because a lot of people still watch TDSBC and believe what they have to say, that there's more violent crime happening that are from white people, or white people commit more violent crime. You have Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar claims that white people are the most dangerous types of people. There's an interview she did with Mehdi Hassan where she says white people are more dangerous than Black people. And it's this kind of data that backs up that erroneous claim. Does it mean, now I'm going to put a caveat in, does it mean that white people don't commit crime? They do. You have more white people in the corrections system. Yes, it's called having a majority. If you have a majority of the population, you also have a majority of the criminals when you're looking at the count. Okay, but when you're looking at the ratio of the population who are law-abiding and you have the population of those who break the law within these demographics, within the white community, the ratio drops. So you see that less violent crime happens among the white community by ratio than when you look at the black community. That's really what we need to talk about. But nobody on the left wants to talk about it. Chrissy says, I really dislike Ilhan Omar. She really sucks. I agree. But it does turn out that she comes from a family of socialists. Based on the reports that we've seen. Her father was a colonel that helped, a despotic government in Somalia, and they fled as that government fell. And then where did they wind up? They wound up in free United States of America. They came in with their wealth and influence, and then guess what they did next? They began to run for office to bring the insane policies that destroyed Somalia to the United States. Again, I don't know why you guys let this happen. I don't. I get the fact that people should be able to come in. It's a land of the free, the home of the brave. You should be able to come in and, gain citizenship. And it lets you, America is beautiful for that. But it's making America vulnerable. A lot of black people are going to hate that I say this, but it's making America vulnerable to sociopaths like Ilhan Omar. She's a sociopath. Anyone who can, just days after Charlie Kirk gets murdered, says that his legacy belongs in the dustbin of history, that person is a sociopath. That is, even if you hate that person, even if you hate Charlie Kirk, that is not the time. And even if you wanted to say it, you should say it in a classier way. But no, she's not. The Democrats lost their class decades ago. They lost class decades ago. I think before Obama, they lost it. Chrissy says she's linked to so much fraud and took so much money from people who need it. Correct. She was protected and like a princess there. She never suffered the way others did and helped them steal money. It's all there. The question that we continue to ask Chrissy is, how come she hasn't either been removed from the Senate, forced out by her side? How come the GOP hasn't gone after her like the Democrats went after George Santos and everybody else who they had something on in the Republican Party? They went if the roles were reversed and there was even a whiff of corruption on this person and they happened to be Republican, would the Democrats, if they had the House or Senate, have allowed that person to remain in office? I mean, just let me know in the chat. Would that have happened? And this is part of the frustration. Now, the answer for a few will be yes. But for most, I think it will be yes. But for a few, no. The reason why this frustrates a lot of us is that we know that if the roles were reversed, if she was a Republican and the Democrats had the House and Senate, she would be forced out. Chrissy says, because the Democrats refuse to see the truth. The Democrats, yes, they've for the most part, they believe that the voter base is brainwashed, so they can say anything and get away with it. Yeah, they refuse to see the truth, and Democrats also stall the Senate. Remember the last government shutdown that we had? And they continued to call it the Trump shutdown when they were the ones who shut down the government. Now, when the Democrats in Congress do and say things like that, it's expected. But where I see that there's a huge problem is when people on the street, the man on the street says it's a Trump shutdown. Then you know that you're dealing with people who have been severely brainwashed. And many of them just have TDSBC on repeat. If you don't know what TDSBC is, it's MSNBC or MS Now. They have it on a loop in the background, telling them all these lies. And do you know what? They're buying the lies and they're not doing their own research. For this entire live stream, I have not played Fox News once. I haven't. This is all mostly citizen journalism, raw footage. And we try to do that as much as we can when we can, because even Fox News isn't as fully, truthful when they should be. They aren't, okay? I like Fox News, but I'm self-aware enough to know that there are times when they are too far on the right side of the conversation and not exposing everything that might make our side look bad. It's good for us to see the parts that make us look bad so that we can change it. That's the point of telling the truth. You see that this is bad, and then you make the necessary changes. You know who to vote out. You know the conversations you need to have going forward. And that's the important thing. Chrissy says, I fully agree. I hope what I just said is what you're agreeing to, or something, or maybe something else that I said earlier, but thanks for that, Chrissy. All right, guys, we're going to be shutting it down. We've talked about Spain and the invasion, the Islamic invasion, with military-aged men running through the streets screaming Allahu Akbar. We looked at the situation in Seattle with the craziness that took place with the resignation of the police chief, the settlement of over about $700,000 to keep him quiet, and the disaster of the press conference that the mayor of Seattle had. And then we just took a little glaze over the fact that the correction system, the Department of Corrections, is labeling colored people of color, as white, lending more credence to the lie that they keep telling, claiming that there's more violence coming from the right than from the left, or from white people, that white people tend to commit more violent crime than black people. Meanwhile, we're seeing that the data being pushed into the Department of Corrections database is false. So that's basically where we are. And there's a lot of news going on, but we'll just stop here. I wish I could go longer, but it's late and most of us have to get to work tomorrow. Now, we're going to be back again tomorrow. We've moved our live streams to much earlier in the day. So we're going to be live again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. 3 p.m. Eastern. We don't do night shows anymore for several reasons. Family needs some focus time, and I just felt that I should move it earlier so that I could, take care of the family in the evenings. So I hope you will join us tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern when we get together to take a look at what's going on, hang out, and if possible, have some fun while we look at the news. It is dark. It gets dark sometimes, and I know that it's difficult to stomach the insanity that we have to face up to. But the reason why I show these things is because these are things that need to keep us aware of what is at stake, if we don't take elections seriously. Okay, elections have consequences. Seattle is dealing with one of those consequences by, this lady is one of the consequences of their elections, and they have to deal with her. If she doesn't resign or get fired within the next few weeks, they have her for another, I think, 3 or 4 years. So elections have consequences, and I show you these things because we do need to sit up and pay attention and get out to vote when we should. So guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Gardening. Thank you, Chrissy. Thank you, Intergalactic Wrangler. You guys made it out here on a Sunday night. And I had a first-time chatter. I don't know if she stayed all through. Let me find her name, Anne Klein. First-time chatter. Maybe she was testing the waters to see if this was actually live, but she didn't continue with posting in the chat. Well, guys, I always have fun hanging out with you guys, talking about these stories. And I love to see you guys connecting in the chat and talking about your your favorite hobbies. All right, guys, we'll be back again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for being a part of this live stream. Love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.